Anshu is a cartoonist and illustrator living in Baltimore, Maryland, who loves sponge cake, specifically Taro Cream sponge cake, which her and her sister used to enjoy every year on their birthdays growing up in San Jose, California. When she moved to Baltimore for school, she couldn't find the cake she loved, so she decided to bake her favorite cake herself, from scratch. And it turned out good, really good. And what are we making today?
So I'm gonna make a taro cream cake today. Wow. So it's basically kind of like a sponge cake with like a taro cream filling inside.
Yum.
And then whipped cream and fruit.
Okay, so what do we need to do? And I'll help you.
Well, if you want to start, then you can start by separating the eggs. So the whites will go into the smaller bowl because we'll be putting this into the larger one later.
Okay.
So
okay, what's the next thing we're doing?
Yes, so next we can start putting the ingredients into the bowl with the egg yolks.
Okay.
So we'll use like a pinch of salt, just like that will be fine. Milk will be 3 tablespoons. Quarter cup of sugar.
So that wasn't a lot of sugar, actually.
No, yeah, this is not a very sweet cake.
Love it.
Yeah.
And good for us, maybe.
Yeah.
What else is going in there? Flour.
So yeah, this is cake flour. So we're going to use a half cup, and then I'll kind of sift a little bit at a time, and then you can keep mixing it.
Got it. Oh, I see. So gotcha.
So after it's incorporated each time, I'll just add a bit more. Okay, so we'll add 2 teaspoons of this.
Okay. Oh, that smells so good.
We'll start with the egg whites. I think that should be pretty, Okay. All right, so now we can take this, we're going to fold this into here, and then you just fold it in really gently like this. And make sure that it all gets combined evenly. Pour that in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's go stick it in the oven.
Yeah.
And this is the cake that we made together?
Yes.
Wow, we did a good job. Wow. The velvety texture, the vanilla aroma mixed with the strawberries and the kiwi, the fluffiness. Should I just go on and on and on about what a wonderful job we did?
Thank you. And thank you.
You did most of the work, of course.
No, it's definitely a very soft cake.
Why this cake? What does it mean to you?
Well, I grew up in the Bay Area, so there's a very high, population of Asian American families there, and there's also like a lot of businesses that sell food like that. So when I was growing up, my sister and I, when we would have our birthdays, or like sometimes for our parents' birthdays too, we would just get a cake from the bakery that was basically very similar to this. So it's just very like soft sponge cake, and it would have taro cream filling inside a lot because that was my sister's favorite and it became my favorite too. But then when I moved to Baltimore for school, I would always have my birthdays during the school year when I was here, so I never got to eat this for a really long time. So last birthday, I just decided I would make it.
What is it about making something from scratch? Why does that mean so much to you? And in fact, I'm gonna read something that you said. You said, for me to take care in preparing my food is to take care of myself.
Yes.
And by that, you mean starting something from scratch, obviously.
Yes.
So what do you mean by that?
Well, I feel like, at least for me, whenever I'm kind of in like a really bad, like kind of long-term mood, like I feel like I don't have the motivation to work, or I feel like I don't have the motivation to like make a good meal for myself, I feel like it's kind of like doing myself a disservice, to just spend the bare minimum amount of time So for things that do take a really long time to cook or bake, like this cake, or like a soup or like a stew that will take an hour or two to just like simmer and get all of the flavors, I feel like that's like just a great way to like feel like you are taking good care of yourself. To spend more time on yourself.
There's a lot of people like me who don't even venture to bake. I go to the grocery store and I get my cake from there. So were you ever a little bit timid about making that attempt?
So I took cooking classes in middle school, and that's very surface level, but it taught me all the like basic terms and like kind of guidelines for how to bake things. So that definitely helped me. You can't really like easily make a substitution for something if you're not really sure what that is, or like you can't really, skip a step if that's really integral to the process of it, becoming its final product. I just find it interesting that your message and what you try to convey comes beautifully through your illustrations. Thank you. So why this? I mean, this is amazing to me, but at what point did you realize you have a talent for illustrations like this? Most people, when you ask them like why did they start drawing, they're like, oh, when I was like 2 years old and I held a pencil. They're like, that's lying when I drew to you. My first painting. I'm like, well, I've been doing this as a hobby for a few years, but I never took it seriously until my senior year of high school. Did you just start doodling and it just turned out amazing? I mean, your stuff is all over the walls. I mean, I feel like it's less just like talent for me and more just like a slow process of hard work, because I think that drawing is not necessarily something that comes naturally. I actually feel like I'm more of a logical thinker, but that kind of does go hand in hand with drawing sometimes, because you need that kind of way of thinking to draw observationally, etc. So for that, I felt like I was covered, but for like the kind of creative part, I felt like I still have to like keep pulling my weight more and more over the years. But I feel like recently I've gotten to a good place where I can like adequately express things on paper the way I see it in my head. So what is the message you hope people get out of reading and looking at your art, your illustrations? Oh, I hope they would feel kind of just a deep sense of comfort. I think that's what I want most. I really like to explore kind of like more like the emotional side of art making and writing, and that's your way of connecting with people. Yeah, no, definitely. And I think people can all, to some degree, like different groups and different kinds of people can all like share, those same feelings, like, oh, like when they, read a comic or a book that really like touches them, they'll like feel that. Really I certainly felt it looking at your illustrations and reading it. You definitely accomplished that goal, and Shoo, thank you so much. Thank you.